Howdy folks, this is the Novice again. Wanted to give you my final video before the server shuts down and beta is done. Launch is going to be about another week or so. So I wanted to go over a few things today, kind of give you an overview of what to do when you first get into the game. You can watch my first video to get a little more detailed overview of it, but I'm going to kind of give you a summary in this video. Whenever you are up in space when you first get in, it's going to ask you to select a tile on Haven, right? I like to be near a market, and I like to be near a market that has a shuttle port. This is a standard market, doesn't necessarily have a shuttle port, but you can teleport to the other market, so it really doesn't matter which one you pick. So pick your tile. If you've got friends coming in, pick one far enough away that the tiles around it might not be grabbed up soon, right? If you grab this one here and there's a bunch of people jumping in, all these are going to be gone next to it. So pick something that's close enough but far enough away that you can get your friends, your group, or whatever in. If you're by yourself, pick a tile that you want. You don't have to cluster in around this stuff. You can go anywhere you want. Once you pick a tile and you say you want to land there, you cannot change it later. So pick what you want up front, make sure you get it right. Then you're going to drop to the planet in your lander. All right, that's pretty simple. All you got to do is be ready to hit the brake with your space bar or whatever key you have bound. As soon as you get to the ground, what I would recommend that you do is you hit the tab key, and if this is closed, you can select this option here on the left here to open up the descriptions. Go to your wallet and see how much Quanta you have. I have 9 million, right? We're not going to start with that much. My organization has right now 700 million. We're not going to have anywhere near that when we start. We're going to have whatever we can get. How do I get more money, Quanta, to start with? How do I get more? I'm going to hit F2. How do I get more talent points to start with, right? All right, so if you do two things on the top of this sign, use the recruit a friend link whenever you create your account. You have to do that not after you create your account, but when you create your account. So if you don't have the recruit a friend link and you try to add it later, not going to do you any good. But what you can do at any time is enable two-factor authentication, right? So you have to use a code through an app on your phone or whatever. And that will get you more talent points and or in-game money. I'm not going to promise you're going to get both talent points and money for either one of these. And the DU devs could change how much they're going to give. They've announced all the stuff. I'm not going to go into the details and everything, but ultimately I don't believe it till I see it when we get in the game. Right now, when you get in, after you've enabled two-factor authentication, you get 1 million talent points. That's a week of training, so that's pretty good. You get some money, but more importantly, you get some assets with the recruiter friend, right? You get an extra container hub and a bunch of other parts and stuff. So that's important to you. So that's how you can maximize what you come into the game with is through these two methods here. Recruit a friend, two-factor authentication. And that will help you out. All right, so once you've determined how much Quanta you have in your wallet, and then money, right, to buy stuff, and don't spend it on stuff if you can make it, right? You want to start some schematics going, right? You want to start, let me get these out of here that I've already created. What I would recommend, just have these brewing in the background, is I would recommend making some fuel schematics. I would recommend making some, I would make some space fuel, but you got to figure out which kind of rock you have on your tile, right? With this one, you need limestone. This is tier 2 fuels, or tier 2 rocks that turn into these, so you got to pick the right one. With the Atmo fuel, it doesn't matter, but you can make some blueprints. Let's say I know it's this one. I can make 5. You can have 5 slots, and I can say, okay, I just want to go ahead and churn out 10 of these. Boom. So this one takes less, 9 minutes. This one takes 4 hours, but they also cost money, right? Each one of these costs money, in-game money. So watch what you're spending. So maybe just get a little bit of fuel started. I'm not worried so much about Atmo fuel, but I'm worried a lot about space fuel. I want to have space fuel, so maybe I made too many. I probably don't need that much, right? But anything else that I want to manufacture later down the road, I need to be able to, if I want to buy a medium assembly line to make a large assembly line. Hold on. Then you'll want to start that up. Basic assembly line large. So I can buy a medium at the market, but I need a medium to make a large, and in order to make a large I got to have a schematic. So let's say I want to make a schematic. It's going to cost me 30,000 Quanta. Boom. Got one going, right? And let's say that to make territory units and territory scanners, I want to then take my large and make an extra large. Then that one's going to cost me 60,000. Need to make one of those too, maybe. All right. I'm not telling you what to make. I'm giving you examples of how to build schematics. You have to figure out what schematics are going to be important to you, and you got to make them. It takes a while to make some of these. If you just make one, it takes less, right? The bigger the item is, the longer it takes to make the schematic. But see, this will all brew in the background while you're doing stuff. So just get those started up and don't worry too much about it. All right. So I'm gonna turn the schematics off. The next thing, we talked about schematics, we talked about Quanta and talent points. The next thing is actually train up your talent points. I'm gonna hit tab and get out of here, and I'm gonna hit F2 to bring up the talent points, right? I'm not gonna try to tell you exactly what you need to train starting up, but you know you're gonna have to, here's a good example. I know I'm gonna have to mine surface rocks up front, okay? This one gives me 10% time, so 10% less time for each stage of this. Stage or tier 1, level 1. Oh, it's level. Level 1 is pretty cheap. Level 2's not too bad. It starts getting more expensive here, and it goes all the way up to 375,000, right? Efficiency on this one goes up to 750,000, but each one gives you minus 5% time. So you're initially going to be surface harvesting a lot, right? Plus 5% to surface harvesting output. This is probably the most important one, right? It's not how fast I do it or whatever. It's how much ore I get. So if I do level 3 on this one, then, or level 2, it's pretty cheap, and that'll help me out. Okay, let me tell you this. You will never use surface harvesting again once you get all your miners set up. So going to level 5 is probably a waste of your talent points, because you only get so many, and it takes time to do all this, right? Especially when you got 1.5 million that you're using. And don't use your talent points up here and apply them, your million or whatever you get for your 2-factor authentication. If you're just going to go to level 1 and 2, just let it train. It's not going to take too long to get that done, right? But what I'm saying is, you're only going to use Surface Harvester up front, maybe the first, days, week, or maybe a month if you're running slow, right? So don't worry about that. If you're not going to go out and mine asteroids, you don't need to use Terraformer or Miner or Dredger, right? If you're going to go mine asteroids, you might want to do a little bit of that. Organizational construct management. Here's where it gets important, right? Let me close this one up here. So organizational construct management. I don't know why that's still highlighted. Oh, because I'm clicked on it over here. This is important. If you're starting an org and you're the super legate, you need to be able to accept cores from your members, right? For your organization. So organization cores. And so you need to train up so you can accept those cores, because each person comes with the ability to have 10 organization cores right up front. So if you have 10 members, that's 100 cores. Well, how much do I need to train here? I need to train all the way to level 4 in order to have 100 that I can utilize. Well, 100 plus what you start with, right? So that's important. And then if you start getting bigger and bigger in your org, you may have to go into, you know, the next level or the next level, right? You may have hundreds of cores, right? But if you're just an individual, skip those first three. Those are for organizations, right? And what you want, if you're one of the members of that organization, or if you're just on your own, you just want this. You just want organization construct slot optimization, right? You start with, I think, 10 personal slots. Let's take a look real quick. Hit P. And it looks like we have 10 constructs. And we also have 10 organizational constructs. We use 7 of our 10, right? For personal items, like this building that I'm in and other things. So let me hit F2 again, go back to this. So if I want to add to that, the first level, real cheap and real short to train, adds 3. So that's 13. Second level gets you to 16. Third level gets you to 19, and so on and so forth. So if you need that, you're not going to need a whole lot of cores right up front. But if you're trying to feed your organization and grow your organization and you've got a lot of members, then you probably want to get your organizational construct slot optimization where you're adding cores so that you can add cores to the super legate that's got these talents trained and can accept your cores for the organization on behalf of the organization. So you can put out minors and things like that, right? And then advanced just goes the next level up. It's +5 every level. So this one was +3 every level. This one's +5 every level. This one's +10 every level. And you kind of do them in order, right? But starting out, you may or may not want to have like level 1 or 2. It's cheap to train up here. If you're starting an org, you definitely want to train 1 or 2 levels here. Mining unit manager, okay? And improved mining unit managers. Let's talk about that one. That's gonna be an important one. I would do, you know, starting out, getting your ore is a big deal. 10% efficiency. You know, level 1's cheap, level 2's cheap. Once you get past that, it starts charging you more. This reduces the time to gain charges. You gain 4 charges a day. If you start training this up, you're going to get 5 or 6 or 7 charges per day. Okay? And this is how efficient your charges are when you charge the machine, right? Again, you might want to train a few here. You can train it here if you want to be able to charge more miners, right? And it'll help you a little bit, but it's a point of diminishing returns when you get up into tier 4 and 5. It takes so much longer to get there, or it takes all of your hoarded talent points. You got to decide if you want to do that or not. Okay, the handling and the charge volume can help you a little bit. This is how many you can save up, but early on you're not going to have any to save up, so I wouldn't worry about the charge volume right now. I'd worry about, you know, I wouldn't worry too much about handling. It's cheap to train up level 1 stuff. If you want to, you know, improve your mining unit stuff even further, you got these fields down here, and just go through them and it tells you, you know, what they all are. This improves your efficiency. This just improves the charge that's placed on it, right? They actually regenerate faster, your charges. So this works in the same way that this one works, right? So this one is kind of a secondary of that one, right? So this level kind of piggybacks on top of this one, and you can't do some of these levels without doing some of these levels. So for example, if you say, well, I want to go and do improved first. Well, if you do improved and you queue it up, it's going to queue up all of the stuff in the middle that you have to do first and put that in front of it. It doesn't let you do the better one that gives you 10 before you do the ones that do 3 and the ones that do 5. At least you got to do at least to a certain level, maybe all the way to level 5, right? So anyway, not going to spend any more time on this. You can go back to my first couple of videos and it gives you a little bit more detail, talks about some of the piloting skills and stuff like that. But ultimately you need to go through here and explore on your own and figure out what you can do. If you try to train everything, it's going to take you years, literally. And I don't mean I mean years of playing the game to be able to train all the stuff up. So I would go ahead and you know, just look through there and see what you think you want to do. All right. So let's hit tab. Let's hit the X there to get out of here. There we go. All right. So the next thing we want to talk about is deploying your outpost. Let me jump off my platform here. There is no fall damage. This is the outpost that came with me, and it'll be in my nano pack. Kind of looks like one of these, but it says pilot outpost, blah 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 blah. This one happens to be, I renamed it as the DU novice outpost, but it's going to say pilot outpost or whatever outpost you choose. The reason I chose this one, go back to my initial videos if you want to see the details, but it comes with a bunch of parts that you can build ships out of, like this ship here, right? I took parts from my lander and parts from that were laying in this building that came as part of the building. And you know, used them to build this ship, and I took this ship to Mattis and Thetis, different planets in the solar system, right? I can go to Alioth, I can go to the moons. So it's important to deploy your outpost. You know, I may or may not deploy my outpost. I may decide, you know what, I don't want to ultimately live on Haven. So if I've got a couple of characters, maybe I'll deploy one of my outposts, and another member of my org might not deploy theirs and might take it to Mattis and deploy it on Mattis after we can pin a tile there. You know, claim a tile there. Pinning is just a term for that. So decide whether you want to deploy your outpost. You're going to get one of these small miners, okay? And that brings us up to the next item. Get into your build menu here, which is K. Your nano pack is a little manufacturing. Unclick this. So type in mining. So basic mining unit small are those miners that, like, you get one of these when you spawn in. You can put 2 for each ore type. So on your tile on Haven, you can put 8 of these down. And it'll be more efficient. You'll get more, or you can sell that for money or use it in your industry or whatever. Okay, so get started on making the parts to build this, right? Right. In order to build it, you've got to have the ore, right? So make sure that you've got all the stuff, and then start making the parts in your nano pack that you need to build this miner. And then when you get it done, you can add it to the cube. Obviously it's not going to build because I don't have any of these parts in my current inventory, so I can't actually build it, right? But if I get all the ore and I'm linked to a container, you can watch my videos on how to do that if you want. But you can build more of these miners and be able to get more ore. So what you need to do is with your talents and with your K, which is crafting, you need to always have something building in here that you need, whether it's some parts or whatever. If you're not sure what parts you need, don't build them. It might waste the ore that you have, and you might need it for something else. But have a plan on what you want to build, and keep all the parts in order. Like if I put this one first, it's going to clog up my nano pack. It's never going to build the other stuff. I have to build everything in order. I have to build this, right, before I can build this. And I have to build the steel product and the pipe, both, before I can build the hydraulics, right? I have to build basic connectors and polycarbonate plastic product, which I can all build right here in my nano pack, before I can build my basic ore scanner, etc., etc. So get all that stuff lined up, build the parts in order like they're shown here. If you're drilling down, build the furthest down one first. This would be my first items, right? Because if you go below this, it's talking about ore. And then I would go to this, my pures, and then you'll go to the next item, and then all of a sudden I can build this, right? And then I build this, and only then can I put this in the queue. If I put this in the queue first, it's going to do like it is right here. It's not going to build anything. It's going to stop it up, right? So I'm going to take that out of the queue. So what do I want to keep busy? I want to keep schematics working. I want to keep building schematics as long as I have money. I got to spend money to make schematics, so that's something you got to pay attention to. I want to keep my crafting working in my nanopack until I get my manufacturer set up and I don't have to build stuff in my nanopack anymore. That's your backpack. And I also always never want to let I got 59 days of stuff queued up in my training. That was F2 for my talent points. So always keep those things going. Schematics, if you've got the money and you need them more, don't just build them to build them and spend all your money. Crafting, initially get stuff crafted, and talents, get that going. So you'll put your miner or miners down, you'll make more small miners, and all of a sudden you'll start making a large miner like this one. And then from basic you'll go and say, okay, I need a tier 2 miner, which I can't put on Haven because there's no tier 2 here except what's on the ground. So I got to go to other planets and I got to scan and pin territories. So guess what? I need to make territory units to pin with, and I need to make territory scanners to scan with. In order to do that, I've got to get tier 2 ores that are on other planets. Again, see some of my videos, I talk about all this previously. Just doing a summary for you today. So get ore. Run around your tile with your harvest tool selected, and then you'll see these piles of ore. I'm turning my light on here, and I actually pushed my middle button to put it in auto mode. That means every time I point at something and I'm within range, boom, it harvests it. I could just click my left button and hold it, but that's going to give me carpal tunnel if I keep doing that. So I'm just going to click that center mouse button, and just keep pointing at stuff. So all I'm doing is linking to a container. And oh, that reminds me of container range. Let's look here. So my container range right now is 1.25 kilometers. So whatever container I'm linked to, which is this one, my main container, that's where that ore is going right now. The ore I just picked up, this is some of it that I just picked up. It's going in that container. When you first start out, you're only got a 250 meter range. You can't even go to the edges of your platform. One of the videos I show you how to turn all this on and off so you can see what you want to see and not see what you don't want to see. But to keep your container range up, that's another thing you have to train, right? Under mining and inventory, under inventory manager, and under primary container augmentation. It gives you start out with 250, so when you train level 1, which takes almost no time and very little quanta, or very little talent points, then now you double it to 500. You do the third level, you're at 750. Second level. Third level, then you're at a kilometer. I'm already at a 1.25 because I've got the 4th level train. You're going to need to have that trained up to be able to stay connected to your primary container, because your nanopack won't hold much, and you want to be able to just go mine your tile and have the stuff go directly into your container and not have to friggin' run back and, oh, am I in range yet? Oh, as soon as I get in range, then I can stop and I can hit my container, and I can say, okay, take my stuff out of my nanopack, boop, drag it over to my container. Don't want to have to mess with that. All right. After you get all of this stuff done, you got everything running. Now you're just kind of waiting for your ore to come in. You picked up all the ore on your tile level, the tier 1 and tier 2 ore. There's going to be some tier 2 ore for that. You're going to use it for fuel and for your manufacturing parts and stuff. So be real stingy with your tier 2. Don't try to sell any of that stuff right away. Well, you can if you want. That's up to you. It's your ore. Do what you want with it. But I would. So once you got your ore set up, you need to take the lander that you landed in, which mine's gone. I've already taken it apart. You need to take it apart because you take all those parts from that and all the parts from the speeder that you deploy and all the parts you get from your building if you do the pilot outpost, or some of the other ones have stuff in them too. Like there were 2 fuel tanks in here that I took out that I used for stuff. But take all that stuff apart and then use all those parts to build you a better ship that can get you off planet. I had to go to the market and buy this engine because they sell them there, the small space engines. You don't get it typically any space engines, but I've also bought the wings. Everything else on here, every single part came off of either this pilot outpost or my lander or this other vehicle that I got because I did the recruiter friend bonus. So I got this vehicle and I basically stripped it and used it for parts, right? I haven't even taken it all the way apart, but I've even got some more parts stored in it. So all of that stuff is going to help you get to other planets and get different kinds of ore and things like that. So what do you do on day 1 when you launch? Well, this is a very complicated game, but it's a lot of fun. I don't work for Novacore. I don't work for the devs. I don't support them any other way except that I like to play this game. So this is just a player that's played in beta for a couple of years, and I quit playing for a while because I got ticked off at them. And you know, I didn't want to come back till they actually announced that they were doing a wipe, and until they actually tell me what time they're going to actually start the server up on the 27th, I'm still going to be pissed off at them because they're not telling us that. So they need to get off their collective doofuses and tell us when is it going to be 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time or what? You know, I don't know when. And a lot of us are wanting to take off work that day to come play this game. So I had to take the whole day off because I have no clue if they're going to start after I would have got a full day of work in, or if they're going to start at midnight my time or some other time, or what. I have no clue, and it's very frustrating not to know when they're going to start. But anyway, that's to the devs at DU. We're all annoyed about that, and you've been hearing comments about that, and you've still failed to answer. So despite that, I like playing this game, and I think you'll like it too. But it is a complex game, so look through some of the videos that are out there. It doesn't have to be my video. There's a lot of videos out there that talk about how to play the game. Some stuff is going to change with the launch, so I've tried to focus on what I think is going to happen based upon the public test server and stuff that you know, the devs have released and everything else, and discussions I've had with my smarter friends that play this game. So you know, go look into the news yourself. Go look into some of the other videos on how to do stuff. There's a lot of people that are posting stuff out there that about how to get started and everything. After the video starts up, changing channels now. After the video starts up, I've been doing a series of how-tos, and this is the final video before the game ends. But I wanted to let you guys know that all my videos from here on out are going to be about players. Or most of them are, until we start getting some ships and places we can tour through and things like that, and some exciting PvP and things that we want to put on a video. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait about a week after start, right? So maybe the end of the first week of October. I'm going to ask you all to come to this channel or to message me in game. My name is DU Novice. Find me in here, message me, or put a comment on the bottom of this video that says, "Hey, I would like for you to come and do an interview with me and look at what I've accomplished in a week or 2 weeks or however long that may be." I won't be able to go to everybody's place and do videos unless only 2 of you respond to me. Then I'll probably get to everybody. But I'll try to get to you know, a big cross section of people as I can, and I want to hear you guys talk about what you've done. I want to see the base you built. I want to see the ships you built. I want to see the industry you've put together. I want to see the ships, you know, that you're planning. I want you to tell me about your future plans. You want to be the biggest mining conglomerate on the planet, and you're starting an organization, and you want members to join. Blah blah blah. If you guys are, you know, talkative, and you want to go through your plans for the future and talk about what you've done and what you think about the game and feedback for the devs, then, you know, by all means, message me, give me your coordinates. And if I don't get to you, it's not because you're not important. It's because I've got a lot of things to do. I work full time. I do these videos when I can get them, and, you know, our times may not match up very well. So bear with me. I'll try to get to folks when I can, and I'll try not to do the same person over and over and over. Unless only one of you responds to me, then you're it, you know. But anyway, that's the plan. I hope everybody has a good launch. The beta is shutting down. If you want to look back at some of the things on beta, there's a lot of videos out there, including some that I've just done recently. I'm getting ready to release a few more while the server's down that I've made. Like we went through a couple of places that sell ships and buildings and things like that, and I kind of talked through some stuff there yesterday and a few days before that. So you'll see more videos coming out while the server is down before the launch occurs, and I'm really excited to get started, and I hope everybody else is too. So good luck on the launch, and if you want to show off your what you've accomplished, talk about it. Say what was hard, what was easy, what you'd do differently if you had to do it again. Let's do it. Maybe we can help some of the other players that come in later. All right? Everybody have a great launch, and we'll talk to you later.